thank you for still making it to the short notice. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So coincidentally, it was just so deep that you said we should talk about corporate governance and structure, because I'm spending the next 4 days at a retreat at a resort at Lakaway Golf Resort. It's a CEO session.
It's nice.
Right. Yeah, it's funny enough. It's $1 million. The flyer is, I'd probably share the flyer. Wow. $1 million for 4 days. And to be honest, that's the same thing we're sharing here. So please don't. Yes. It's the same thing we're sharing here. Okay. Right. So let's deep dive into it. Corporate governance and structure. Right. Sounds like a buzzword. Everyone said, oh, it lacks corporate governance all around us, both local and international. Yeah. Businesses have collapsed, but the lack of corporate governance and structure. I mean, one of the latest one that everyone is uncertain is I would like to say the reversals, right, of what's going on with Twitter, right? Yes, that's what happens when a business that is so structured and organized. At some point, I think there's a Nigerian that was sitting on the board of Twitter.
Madam Kojowala.
Was it Kojowala? Yes.
Okay, I think she was on the Princess board.
Yes. So the dismantling
when it was
that,
Jack.
Yeah, so that's my point. A company with that level of corporate governance, to have someone that big. I mean, we don't know how big Okonjo, because there's a C finish of the person, right?
Now
to have all that type of structure too. It's being run now like a one-man business.
Right? That decides anything at any time.
Right. You know, yes. So just think about it that way, that the opposite of corporate governance is what's about to self-sabotage Twitter. Right.
With stress and needles shooting up and down.
all around us is stories and tales of failed businesses. And in the middle of most of those stories, what you find out is lack of structure and corporate governance. I mean, one of the biggest failures of the 20th century was the death of Enron. There was a company called Enron, right? Enron was one of the biggest oil and gas companies in the 20th century. Matter of fact, that company falling also dragged other companies, including one of the biggest management consulting firms, Arthur Andersen. So people don't know the story that what you call KPMG today used to be called Arthur Andersen.
Oh, I see.
So that was how, like when Lekki Garden collapsed, right? When the building collapsed, everyone's asking where's Lekki Garden, right? Chances are that they might have rebranded, like how airlines crash. I mean, apart from Dana plane crash, I don't think there's any airline in Nigeria that survived the plane crash. Apart from Dana, once a plane crashes,
they came back.
Yeah, and that's because of, well, that's a different question. But notice the trend of this commission. I'm just trying to tell us negativity of not having corporate governance. So it's not just a Nigerian problem. Even globally, businesses collapse. When you hear businesses that have lasted 100 years, 200 years, chances that it's structural corporate governance.
There's a background.
Yeah,
everything together.
I was brushing my teeth in the morning. Everything is case study to me. If you're a writer, you write kind of books. If you're a writer, what kind of books you want to read? A singer, it's the kind of song you want to listen to. I was brushing my teeth. I would Colgate the toothpaste.
Okay.
You know what's funny? Colgate is 400 years.
Wow.
Company. 400.
400 years.
So brushing, you know the type of structure that you have. Like, can't we say great grand? And there are bigger companies that are even on that level. I mean, Ford is almost 100 years. Guinness, Arthur Guinness, Guinness from Dublin is over 100 years. Sadly, I wish we had a lot of Nigerian case studies, but I have a mentor whose father, whose grandfather started a company. I would say arguably the oldest company in Nigeria. People don't know it. The brand you probably know, it's called Alabukun.
Alabukun, yes, I heard that story somewhere online.
Alabukun is over 100.
Wow.
And when you talk about people like First Bank and them, I really want to put First Bank in that category, but First Bank wasn't exactly a Nigerian company. It eventually became
a Nigerian entity later on.
Yes. So here's my conversation, and let me just go straight into the point. Anyone can fall off a ladder by accident. Nobody climbs a ladder by accident. When you're building a house, the height of the house, whether you're going to do a 20-story, a 50-story, is very dependent on the depth of the foundation. Right. When I'm passing through a place, I can tell how tall a building will be just because over the years of done business for almost every industry. So at some point I've had to
see those machines.
Yes, when I see the level of foundation, I can tell how
high they're going.
So the root is as important as the height of the tree itself. So for anybody here who's just trying to do the big business, structure is important. So I will just run you through a case study. If you're going to run any business, there are few assumptions you must make for you to be able to be structured. One, assume that the business you are trying to run would last over your generation, right? First assumption that you're building something that you can transfer to the next generation. You have to have this mental assumption. Everything is created twice, first mental, then physical. First assumption, assuming that this business I'm running is a business that is going to last multiple generations. Second assumption, assume it's a business that you want to sell, right? Let me give a good example. If you buy a phone and you know you're going to sell that phone.
They're saying your audio is low. If you can stay closer.
Is it better now? Okay. Is it better now? Okay. So if you buy a phone, right, and you know you want to sell that phone at the point where you bought the phone, you're going to use the phone differently because you don't want to throw away the carton, you don't want to throw away the wrapper because you know that every time you do all of that, it reduces the value.
Is better now.
Right? Yeah. So that's the second assumption, that you want to sell off a business. When you look at the biggest success stories in Nigeria, maybe last 10 years, the likes of Paystack and Flutterwave, you would see the intentionality of people like Paystack. You will know that they built this business to sell it off. For the past 10 years, Jumia has been running almost at a loss, right? But why would they wake up every morning and still be running the business at a loss? Because I do assume, and I don't have data or fact to back this up, that I suspect that Jumia is building to sell.
Okay.
Right? Maybe someday Amazon will buy.
Okay.
Right? Maybe someday Amazon would buy.
To penetrate into local African markets.
Yes, maybe it could be Alibaba. Now, see the assumptions. You're going to run it to the next generation. You want to sell it off. Then 3, assuming that it's a retail brand, even when it's not retail, because the toughest businesses to build structure is retail. That's why you don't have a lot of retail brands in Nigeria that have over 20, 30, 40 stores. It's so embarrassing that the biggest retail brands in Nigeria would be, trying to back up the data, Chicken Republic. Chicken Republic has over 100 or 200 branches.
Outlets. Wow.
Yes, then filling stations and banks. And as big as that sounds, like some banks have maybe 200 branches, I laugh and I say, for a country with the type of intellect that Nigeria has, we have smart people in the world, we have 200 million people, meaning by game on number, you're going to have all sorts, including genius level.
Okay.
It's embarrassing that the biggest business in Nigeria don't have 500 retail stores.
Retail stores.
Now, let me put this in context. Starbucks, just selling coffee, has 20,000 stores.
Globally or in the US?
Globally, okay. But there are even bigger brands. When I say over 20,000, in counting, right?
And by the way, Starbucks is somehow a fintech company than coffee. That's the story for another day.
Yes, that's what they're pivoting to. But let me put this in context. What Starbucks does is not far from what Meshai and Abuki does on the road.
With those big kettles.
They're both selling coffee.
Hot drink.
Abuki,
so it's packaging.
The Abuki even puts bread and egg and indomie, but can't scale more than 1, right? So pay attention. So you can start asking yourself, what are you building? Are you building a bookie shop or you're trying to build something that has that type of brand? People like Walmart has over 40,000, right? And there are a lot of brands that have that. So those 3 assumptions put you in a different mindset. Okay. So once you have that mindset, you can now go on that journey. So this is the first dilemma people have. A lot of us start a business by accident. And when I say accident, there are only 3 ways you should really start a business: from passion, from opportunity, and from experience. So anybody who is here,
no hunger.
Yeah, so anybody who is here who's maybe an employee trying to make that leap, and money is not a problem. Funny enough, a lot of people are stuck in businesses. There was someone yesterday who I know how much he's worth, over $1 billion, and he's over $1 billion naira. He's still an employee. So I would just have a question: why haven't you started your own business? Right? He said, it's not easy. Like, he's battling with what to start. So know that grace is already upon you to already know that
this is a problem you want to solve, and
people have
the
this
journey.
problem, right? Now, but most Nigerians, that's the ideal place to find a great idea. Maybe somebody's here trying to ask what next. Look at the opportunities around you, look at the experience around you, and then more importantly, the things you're passionate about. But there's a fourth one that most Nigerians, which is fourth unofficial, right? I don't know when Nigerians do that. A lot of Nigerians start business by accidents, not passion, right? And I will be honest with you, including setting big brands that are global.
So by accident, do you mean like, okay, maybe I bought something from maybe an e-commerce store. It's so good, and a couple of friends are asking for it again. Like, okay, let me make this my side hustle while I still do my 9 to 5.
Yeah, sometimes
and the business is born.
Sometimes you look for a job you can't find.
Okay,
right, and you just say, let me start, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with what's wrong, but that would be opportunity, be good. A lot of people, let me give a good example. Some people, maybe their parents just passed on abruptly.
Okay, yes.
And the accidental.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with it, but you can't keep at it with that mindset.
Okay.
Right?
Something has to change.
Because what's going to happen is most of the time you find yourself being a technician. So I'm going to walk you through a journey, which is what you were saying. When you start up a business in Nigeria, chances are that you are the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? You don't own a business. So the AC man who fixes his AC does not exactly run an AC repair business. He's an AC man. And how I pay attention, you don't own a business. You think you own a business, but you're the business. The business means that if you're not there, fix an AC because he's somewhere else.
Yes.
It's not a business, right? I'm not sure Dangote, for you to buy spaghetti, you need to call Dangote at any level.
No, it depends. It depends.
Well,
it depends.
Honestly, I don't know at what level you want to
buy. How much you buy?
Like,
I need to talk to the boss.
I'm not sure. Right. So here's the thing. Let's just stay with me.
Okay.
Start up a business as a technician.
Okay.
The level of which you can move fast, bottom up, is a pyramid, right? And I really wish your guys could project my slide.
Okay, you can join the meeting on Zoom and share your screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. How would that work?
Do you have the Zoom link? I think I sent you earlier.
Okay, hold on.
You might need to join the Wi-Fi.
Okay, that's great.
Or your internet.
Okay, you might need to connect my Wi-Fi.
Okay. Sorry, you're just trying to make sure you have the best experience with this.
Yeah, each of them. So, God's glory, I'd suggest you also join and do a summary on the chat. Session.
Please, let's know if the audio is better now. Just someone can unmute and let Chika, please, is the audio better now?
Like mic check 1 2 1 2.
Meeting ID.
Mic check 1 2. Can they hear me pretty well? Okay, you can, right?
I'm going to check the meeting ID. 1 second.
Well, there's no sound on YouTube, though. I don't know.
No sound on YouTube.
The audio is working here, but on YouTube, there's no audio at all.
At all. Okay. All right. Control room, please. Help us check YouTube. 812-525.
I'm sending you the Zoom so you can join in and get shared on the ABC platforms as well. 5, 6, 7.
Okay, the passcode. Maybe you should join the link. The link will just take you there. Straight up.
Send that as an email.
As an email? Do we have audio on YouTube now?
Not yet.
Huh?
No, not yet.
Okay. Connecting.
Yeah, there's network code for it to be loading this. Hold on, I use it to share the slide.
But I think the studio walls would definitely limit the Wi-Fi strength. Yes, sorry. And it will, it's actually connected, but it won't connect to Zoom. You need to go through a VPN, but it's just use your internet. Yeah, the code now. Nice connect. So are we good on YouTube now?
Not yet.
Okay. Keep checking.
Oh, it's not even- Okay, what's your Wi-Fi? What's your hotspot?
Light on my maybe. I think it's just best so everyone can see this. Okay. Are we good now?
Let's try and load but also let me share the slide with you. Maybe you can project it.
Okay, it's asking the passport.
Okay. Is it done?
No, I did agree.
Yeah, the passport. I send you a direct link. That would
Send it to me. Let me know.
okay. Or is WhatsApp first?
Okay, I think working.
It's working. Oh, great.
You manage to mute yourself. You manage to
All right, so you can share your screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we see the screen now?
Yes, the screen is okay now.
Yeah, I see the screen. It's up and fine.
All right, great.
Great. Okay, so sorry for that. So remember the three assumptions you need to make. One, you're building a business that's going to last longer than your generation.
Okay.
Right. I saw a story years ago about Dublin when the guy was going to start Guinness in Dublin. He was going to lease the place, and the landlord asked him how long he wanted to lease the place. He said, how many months, how many years? And he said 100 years. And they looked at him like, oh, really crazy.
Why not buy outrightly?
He said he wanted to lease for over 100 years. And you know what's funny? They did over 100 years ago.
Wow.
Right. So always thinking long term, it's important. right? The second assumption is that you want to sell.
Build and sell, and move
build
to
and
the
sell
next
the
thing.
business. Yeah, even if you're not going to sell,
Okay.
assume that you're building it to sell it.
Okay.
Right? Because in the end, every business exit strategy at some point is to sell. If you think about when a company goes public, IPO, it's selling equity,
selling
like
to the public,
majority of your shares, right? So just assume you're going to sell. So here's the first fundamental problem people have. The first problem people have is that they don't think that way. So they get into the trap of, they get into the trap of being technicians. Oh yeah. So look at this slide, right? A lot of people are in level 3, technician. Okay. Technician is the guy that supplies and outputs. A classic example of a technician is the AC man. He's the guy who sits the cameraman. And I'd give these examples and don't say that is nature of the business. Okay. When you talk to a cameraman or a photographer about systems and stuff, it looks like, no, how can I build system and structure? Then I show them a client called Studio 24. Studio 24 has over 50 Studio 24s. It's still a cameraman, right? But you've got to be able to remember that whatever it is you're doing, you start up as a technician, but don't stay long enough as a technician.
Wow. And
the trap to fall into that, the easiest way to find that trap is to use the word passion. You know, I'm passionate about it.
Yes,
yes. So you run a restaurant and then they ask you, say you're passionate about food. So what do you do most of the time?
Spend more time in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, because you're passionate about it.
And I think this is one of the biggest problems in the tech space. A lot of tech founders. That's why I can relate. A lot of tech founders, we love what we build.
Yeah.
So maybe the idea came, you built the first MVP, started coding, and before you know it, 5 years down the line, you're still coding.
Absolutely.
And so it's not just, so people shouldn't assume that it's just for those blue collar jobs.
Yeah.
But you can even be a lawyer and be a technician. You can be even a mechanic. You can still be whatever. You can even be a structural engineer, and you still be on that technician level, no matter the level of the skill sets required.
Absolutely.
To get those things done.
Let me even say that you can even be a billionaire and still be a technician, and he's the worst.
That's a nice.
It seems like it's like a good problem, but that's the worst because you have money, right?
But you
don't
can't enjoy
it, right? I know a lot of billionaires that can't go on vacation.
Why?
You know,
village people.
2 days ago, I was at a Hilton. There's a new Hilton just built at the airport. There are 2 Hiltons now in Nigeria. There's a Transcorp Hilton, and I was with the owners. And the guy that owns Hilton also owns.
Yeah. So that can just
so I was sitting at Executive Jet and a plane pulled. Because when at the guy's office, you can see all the jets
coming in.
Yeah, only private jets. So this private jet lands and the guy says, that's Tony's jet. Mm-hmm. And then Tony and Dr. Awele, his wife, comes down to the time, just laugh. And, somebody says something. Someone says, I'd rather have a Tony money than have a Dangote money. I mean, Dangote is 10 times richer than Tony. But he said, I'd rather have a Tony. I mean,
because he flexes. He still has time for fun.
And then we laugh. And then he passed. And then we start saying stuff like that.
Stuff like Tony. Yeah.
And that's my point. Right? The ultimate goal of life is freedom. The problem we have is that we trade hustle. Right?
Can you mute the person? Okay, thank you.
So the ultimate goal of life is freedom, and you can fall into the trap of forgetting financial freedom, time freedom, right?
So is it that one pulls the other?
So that's usually most of the time people who are financially free are at the trade of
time. So they don't have time.
So that's lack of structure, right?
And so people have a lot of time, but zero balance.
But here's the thing: the more structure you have in your business, the more freedom you have in your life. Freedom to do what you want to do, go where you want to go is priceless. People know the freedom to buy what you want to buy, but it's the amount of people, and when the guy said Tony money and Dangote money, the conversation we had that which can't have here, because that would be very a bit subjective and derogatory. But someone was saying, okay, that divorce rate. So comparing two people and saying, okay, how much money they have, who has a better quality of life. I mean, Tony is a bloke, right? He's a bloke. Any way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Healthy, the yoga the guy does, right? I just the picture that went viral. Let's not make this a Tony. Let's not make this a Tony commission, right? But a lot of people in that age bracket might be 1% that rich, but are going through diabetes, hypertension, divorces, and spiritual problem, village people. I mean, I sit on I sit on mentorship board for Tony Lumelu Foundation, and on the as mentor, I'm very aware that we've done $10,000 to 10,000 people.
Oh.
That's the foundation, right? So who would you rather be, right? So, but here's the conversation here. I'm trying to paint the big picture of what happens when there's structure and there's organization, right? But the first trap is to move away from that technician role. Technician role is you're supplying the output.
Okay.
Your role is not to supply the output. Employees can supply the output. You're supposed to move from technician to manager, then from manager to entrepreneur. Now, what's different between a technician, a manager, and an entrepreneur? Let me just break it down for you. A technician, right, is a doer. Your role in your company is not to do things. Your role in your company is to get things done through other people, right? So the guy who says, I'm a fashion designer, who's a technician, spends a lot of time on the machine trying to do clothes.
Yes.
So if you're a tailor and you sew 5 clothes in a day, you must really be very hardworking to make 5, let me say a female, let me say dresses. For you to make 5 dresses at 20K each, 100K, you must be hardworking. But I bet you that if you're married as a woman and you sew 5 dresses a day, your husband should be complaining about you.
There'll be a problem.
There will be, look, a time will come, you say, choose between this, your dress, or
and
your
us.
children, or us, right? You know, so the technician supplies output. But imagine if that woman has the structure to hire people and have SOPs, JDs, KPI. I'm going to talk about that as the class goes. She can have 10 people making 5 dresses times 10.
So she has literally multiplied herself
and still has time.
And still staying out of the business directly.
And we all have our versions of this as tech guys.
Yes.
If you look at the biggest companies, I mean, when people talk about Apple. Apple is the poster boy for greatness.
Yeah, they've crossed $3 trillion.
The first company in the world to hit $3 trillion. But the one of the first companies to hit $1 trillion, and then first company to hit. Steve Jobs at 21 was worth $1 million. Okay. At 22, he was worth $10 million. At 23, 10x. It was about $100 million. You see the 10x, but here's the thing. Funny enough, he's not exactly a programmer.
Yes, he just knows how to bring the best hands together.
Your role is not to be a technician.
So, in fact, I think we're discussing this. There was a buzz on social media when, although I've known all the while, one of my big mentors is my boy in this space. He treated that he doesn't code. And everybody just went AY on Twitter, like, you built how many tech businesses and you say you don't code. But really, people forget that it's really not the coding that is the business. Yeah. Any freelancer somewhere in Pakistan or India or somewhere can code even better than a lot of. So someone said this, for example, in the Formula One businesses, Formula One races, said there are a lot of better mechanics that can build better engines. Yeah. So why are they not in the Formula One race? And someone says, that, okay, before you can apply, before you can have the team, will you be the one changing the tires? So by the time you see the structure around it, so it's not about the fastest engines.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really needs to get out there. That's it's coding. In fact, being a technical founder, it causes more problems.
It's counterproductive. Yes. Actually, self-sabotage. There's something called willful blindness. Willful blindness is the things you have to unlearn to grow. Right? So willful blindness is I love to drive. In the last few years, I only drive on weekends.
Okay.
I love to drive, but I am becoming willfully blind to drive so that I can do more important things while the car is in motion.
That took me about 8 or 9 years before I realized that.
And everybody has that version. Matter of fact, I feel like a lot of women, not even the gender bias, but a lot of women are in this trap because we raise our daughters to prepare them. I think women are better prepared for marriage than men. So they tell you a daughter at a young age, you need to cook for your husband, you need to clean. In fact, there's a Nigerian song that says it's a bit clean, it's a bit, wife material.
You're right.
Right. So here's one thing. We think wife material is
those things.
Let me tell you what that trap is. A lot of women's destiny has been sort of, should I say, watered down because they spend a lot of time cooking, cleaning, which is that whole thing we call
Can be outsourced.
that whole thing we call wife material is what's 80K.
It's just 80K a
salary.
month. Okay.
Right? But nobody's thinking that way. Oh, you know, I like to wash clothes.
That's respect.
Buy a washing machine.
That's respect.
Right?
That actually
Because
respects me.
a lot of people spend their Saturdays
Yeah.
washing clothes. Right? So here's my commission. For you to move from being a technician, right? For you to move from being a technician to being a manager, you have to willingly become blind to the things that a technician does.
Yeah.
So you can sew clothes so well, you have to become willingly blind to sewing clothes.
So you mentioned something about driving. So like I said, I think not until like 2 years ago, I never saw the need. I love driving myself. If you see me driving now, I drive. And so there was a day, I think I had a meeting in Lekki, another meeting in Djibouti, another meeting in Badon the same day. And I think I literally drove all those 3 meetings. I presented, and yes, the meetings went well. I closed the deals, but I wasn't myself throughout that night. The pain all over my body and the stress. And I was like, okay. And I think that day, that's when I started that conversation. How much does it cost to get a driver? So that's when I discovered that, oh my God, I could be doing a whole lot more while in transit. I can even be sleeping.
And funny enough, that's called sharpening your seesaw. You know, the chicken that lays the golden egg. When you find a chicken in a poultry that lays golden egg, special type of chicken, what are you supposed to do? So lay the chicken and take care of it well.
Yeah,
you're not laying normal egg.
Egg special.
When you do that, what you're doing is you isolate the chicken to eat the chicken. Right? You know, and it's actually a thing where chicken lays a golden egg, and then you're supposed to be treating the chicken so well, eat so specially so that it can lay more eggs. But what we do is we catch the chicken and we sear the chicken. So your health is what is your chicken.
Yeah, that I'm living on the...
No matter how intelligent and intellectual you are,
matter the balance.
Once your health collapses today, right? I had a client who was doing thank God he eventually went past that. He's fine now. Was going through dialysis.
Wow.
Was into that 2 days every genius guy. You know, just doing dialysis twice a week. Nobody has a dialysis machine in their house, so you have to be on the road twice. And maybe shout out to God, because we don't know what we have when we go to the restroom and we just eat ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? So, but here's the thing, right? So here's my conversation. You are doing that because you are playing with your health, right? So the first hack to move from technician up to manager, then to entrepreneur. And what's the difference? The highest level is to be entrepreneur. So most of us say we're entrepreneurs, but we're actually technicians. We think
we are self-employed.
We're self-employed.
We are not entrepreneurs.
We are candle burning down
to give the light.
That's really what's happening. We're burning down to give light.
And some people are happy like that, giving the light, as long as I'm giving the light too.
But a temporary solution to a permanent problem. It's a matter of time. You would realize that
was a bad decision.
At 45, something will cave in, right? It's either your health, your family, right?
Or the business itself.
Right? Could even be your spirituality. Could be your spirituality, right?
You have time for church again.
You have time for church, for God. For
no 1 hour speaking in tongues.
You're passionate about, right? Right. So here's the conversation. So remember, the race is how fast you can move from technician to entrepreneur, but most people don't even move past there. So one supplies the output, the manager supplies the order, and the entrepreneur, which is where you want to be, supplies the network and the vision. So in other words, your main work as a CEO is really only 2 things. So if you're not doing these 2 things, you're not doing your work.
So literally, I should be somewhere here by now.
The reason why I'm here, right, is networking.
Okay, yes, right? That's true. That's relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm connecting to at least 50 new people I haven't met.
Okay.
Right. Somebody here will say, oh, I like what this guy is saying. Oh, you should come and restructure my business so I can have the peace. I don't want to be a technician anymore.
So let me put you on the spot. You give us discount.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
If you people ask, how do you do it? I got home at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. I was at Dr. Steven's event, I co-hotel. I was at another event. I still went home, came back, and I tell myself that's my work. Right. As a matter of fact, I was with the client. The client says, oh, he's going to Corona. Corona was doing their what you call it, their open day. My kid's about to move to Corona. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Because I had promised my family I was going to hang out with them. Right. I just said, okay, I collapse to kids. I go, they're having a fun day. You guys will come to Corona.
Right?
That's my work. That's not hobby. That's when you see a CEO playing golf, that's his main work.
That's true.
Because there are certain deals as you grow in business that marketer cannot get for you. Even Jim Ovia.
Yes.
Tony Limelu's UBA. There are certain deals that
That
only
they
Tony
have
can
to.
get. I'm sure somebody has an account for Dangote Refinery, over 10 billion spent on Dangote Refinery. He went through
Some banks.
systems.
Yes.
That you're not going to send a marketer to get that kind of deal. He will be Tony getting on his private jet
and having a private meeting.
And having a private.
You can see the private.
right. So, but here's the thing: you can't do it because you're in front of your workshop, inside your workshop, right? The best doctors don't run the best hospitals.
Yeah.
The best teachers don't
run the best schools. Yeah.
So you try to be the best of what you do does not mean you're going to run the best business of what you do.
Yeah.
And main ultimate goal is the business, right? So remember, your role is to supply strategy and network.
Yeah.
Or that other people supply.
And so, or sometimes see ahead, project the vision. And
so if you look at the slide, I broke down what a technician is. Technician is a doer.
Okay.
He loves to tinker. He lives in the present. Your role is not to live in the present. Your role is to live in the future. You can't be seeing things when other people are seeing things. As a CEO, when you're seeing a problem, when your customer is seeing the problem, you're already late. Nothing kills a business faster than a customer pointing out the problem. The death of BlackBerry, in my own opinion, wasn't just because WhatsApp came. I mean, WhatsApp nailed the coffin, but it was the fact that
they were not seeing
BlackBerry phones kept hanging.
Yeah, that's even the expensive ones. It kept upgrading to both 5, but and even to turn on the phone in case of emergency, it still takes like about 5 minutes to boot up a phone.
If this guys on top spend a lot of time with all shades of users,
they would have pinned
but they spend so much time with all shades of product development, not client service. See, as a CEO, your role is not to own the factory. Your role is to own the markets. Let me say that again. Don't own the factory, own the market. Shout out to God's Glory for doing the summary on the chat. If you guys are listening, if you go to chat session, you see that he's summarizing every single thing I'm saying.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Talk about team, right? Like how to think about it deeply. But here's the commission. So in case there's network, anyone can hear me well. But here's the thing. Don't own the factory. If you need to write these things, I'm putting them some.
What the marble?
Notes, what?
Okay.
As you're brushing your teeth, your mirror, write it there. I don't own the factory, own the market. You don't become the biggest brand in the world by owning the biggest factory. Apple is a $1 trillion business, not owning a factory. Apple's
they outsource most of their
outsourced to Chinese factories. Matter of fact, someone said that some part of the major part of where they produce some Apple products, especially iPhone, is simply they produce the techno phone. Right? Matter of fact, the iPhone,
even some Samsung
I think
phones.
iPhone
screens are from Samsung.
Right?
Yeah.
So they don't own factories. See, the problem is the guy who's baking cake thinks that the ultimate goal is to own the bakery. You can still own the bakery and nobody will buy. But it's better to own the market and you don't own bakery. They can now go to the guy that owns a bakery and buy it up.
And another thing is this, because some people don't really even read in between the lines what they're saying. You don't have to be a business owner to think like an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
So you can be employed in 9 to 5 and have an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yes.
So such that, for example, what you said now, imagine if I'm like a software developer in a company or a CTO, not even CTO, I'm a senior developer.
Yeah.
Like you said now, a client should not see a problem before I see it.
Yes.
So if I can think ahead and solve a problem before it's been discovered, so that's been entrepreneurial in even what I'm doing in the immediate. So that moves it from the technician. And really, in any business, when you have people like that, you find it hard to let them go.
Absolutely.
Because those kind of persons, they've moved their structure. So you can even have a structure within yourself, apart from having a structure around people. So I just want to bring that in.
This commission, I wish it doesn't go over anybody's head because it's the ultimate secret to scaling. See, there's no scaling without structure.
Yeah.
Right. And how you scale a business is basically this type of conversation, right? So just always remember that you don't want to own the factory, you want to own the market.
Yeah.
Right. And for you to own the market, you need to move from technician to manager to entrepreneur so that you can do your 2 main work. Can anybody remind me what the 2 main work is?
Networking and strategy. Strategy stroke vision.
So there are certain things that if you want to build a business, remember we're starting from somewhere, we're ending somewhere. Talking about structure systems and then corporate governance in that order.
So it's a journey.
It's a journey, and there's even no structure without climbing that 3 ladders. Right. So as you start to understand that your tool work is strategy and networking, you start to develop new set of skills to drive strategy and networking. So you cannot be a great networker without understanding things like being pleasant.
Yes.
Right? Because everybody wants to network with someone who's pleasant. There's no place in entrepreneurship for certain behavior, right? Like you walk into a room in an event and you're on your phone all day in the event. Just in the house, right?
And sometimes you know, say no be our fault. Some people we are still putting out some fires on phone. Like,
yeah.
Like,
so,
have you sent the mail?
but that's the oh, so let me tell you a fun fact, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it was you that told me that the date, morning of your wedding, you were still trying to
Yeah. No, the night before the wedding, I was still in the office.
Yeah.
A couple of friends, shout out to them. Most of them are out, almost all of them out of the country now. And so they were actually what I found my suit. They were like, okay, you have to move down. So they moved my things to the hotel ahead of me. And finally, I think I moved. And I think I still went to my laptop too. And it just showed up for the wedding next month. So our friends and family got this done. I just showed up to the wedding like a guest.
So you were structured with your friends, but not structured.
Yeah. So my friends were very open. They came in for
God has done it for you. God has done it for you structure-wise. The next WAFBEC, you should be a testimony.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that understands how important it is.
Yes.
So there's no place for that's how I am. When you authentically become a guy going somewhere. How you know that someone's going somewhere? The same things you won't hear them say. I don't say that's how I am. Whenever I hear people say that's how I am, but
accept me for who I am.
Yes, accept me for who I am. It's an average people say that. When you truly become it authentically, that you don't even live for yourself, right? People have bad behaviors and they say that's how I am. I'm melancholic. That's how I am, or I'm Leo. That's how I am. Okay, you're not Leo, you're not melancholic. You're just badly behaved, right? So, for example, you say, I'm an introvert. That's who I am. I don't know any other introverts, and I'm saying this.
Yeah.
When nature my work, I met people. One of the biggest introverts I one-on-one.
Yeah.
But that would say, this year alone, I've seen like 2-3 events.
Yes.
That's an introvert. So you are sitting with Netflix from morning to night. I say that's how I am. I like.
And that's how I chill.
You don't want to go out to talk to strangers because that's how you are. Meanwhile, your biggest breakthrough in life will come from strangers. I don't know if you know that.
Yes,
most of the time, the person you marry
was a stranger at some point.
Yes. They say Uber built a whole business from when your parents said don't get into the cars of strangers.
Yeah.
Right. Uber is built around
entering cars of strangers.
So networking and strategy, but you've got to develop the skill.
Okay.
Inside, so a CEO's skill set he needs to have is ability to network and ability to think, problem solving, not just problem identification.
Yeah. I think from what you said, really, when it comes to these introverts and all of that, I did a personality test recently, and for some reason, and the results kind of show that I'm an extrovert. And I was like, something has changed at some points. Because a couple of years back, a lot of people know you can't see me out. I'm on my system, I'm grinding and building. And I'm sincerely, when I looked at it, I saw that I think business brought the conversations out of me, because you cannot successfully run a big business or a business that is growing somewhere or going somewhere without being outspoken.
Absolutely.
It's hard for me, but at some point when people, please, this is what I do, it is just easy now. So I think everybody should know that no matter how you feel so reserved, yes, even if you hire the best marketers for your business, no other human being on earth can market your vision better than you, the owner of the vision. Yes, you can train them. Yes, you can give them all, equip them with all the information. But at some points, you will be the one. And that's where Eizu was talking about. There are some kind of deals that even the billionaires will jump on their jets, because that billionaire will say one thing that the marketer will never get right, but will resonate immediately with the fellow billionaire and say, oh, I see. Oh, that's why. Okay, I'll sign this deal with you.
Yeah.
So I think we should just take note of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that journey that's been established. Now let's move to why we're here: structure, systems, and corporate governance. So for us to build the type of business that we need to build, there are certain things right. So we must get right moving that ladder. Then we must get right structure, and there is a template for building structure. Matter of fact, to run a great business, there are 7 elements you must get right.
Okay.
And that 7 elements it's summarized as what I like to call the 7 S of a great business. 1, you must have structure.
Okay.
2, you must have systems. 3, you must have shared values. 4, you must have certain type of skills, right? 5, you must have the right staffing.
Okay. So they're all S's.
They're right. They're all S's, right? I don't know how many S I've said. Shared value, systems, strategy, structure, right? Skills, skill set, staffing, right? Those 7 S is if you see any business doing well, they got those 7 things right. Right. So let me give an example. Apple, let's take a local and international example, right? A local example that I think is done pretty well. I'm careful because when people talk about Nigerian local brands, right, everybody starts to become judgmental. So like say, Dangote, it was just luck, or it was connection, it was government contract. His uncle gave him money. Your God, why did your uncle give him? Right? Your uncle could have given you money. Right? And didn't the uncle give? Could he have given more money?
He could have blown it or something.
His children, yes. I mean, he had kids. Like didn't have kids. But here's the conversation here. If you look at, let me use a non-high baggage Nigerian business that people don't
with less social baggage. Just like that.
It's a switch.
Okay,
yes,
Mitchell.
Amazing, Michel Alegbe, amazing guy. So Michel, if you look at a Michel or you look at a Steve Jobs, 2 founders who built great businesses, right? Both of them are way up.
That changed the direction of things.
Yes, very disruptive.
Switching,
disruptive brand. What you find out is they had structure. Michel has so much structure that you have to be a tech boy to know Michel Alegbe. He's not all over the place. You're not putting out fire. As much as you keep putting out fire, that's why it's not in the news, because there's no drama.
Yeah, that's true.
You
hardly find the news
not
about
having structure. It's drama.
Even when you get up there.
See, you go to the bank, most organized banks in this country. You're not going to go into the bank and start shouting, I want to see the founder. Where would you see the founder?
And by the way, so I have a quick question. What happened to our banks during the cashless policy? I thought there was structure in the banking system. They were heavily regulated. Then banks were becoming issues to make transfers and money will get stuck and some will get there 3 days later. So what happened? It will be off
It will be off the tangent of the conversation, but let's not forget that what happened was disruption.
There was a sudden.
It's a sudden. Nobody projected.
So no structure could have.
Yes, nobody projected.
But some banks were still
abruptly
functional. Some were terrible.
The trick was the banks that were most functional, actually the ones with lower customer base.
Yeah.
Standard Chartered. Standard Chartered, but that one. Standard Chartered had money at any given point. In fact, it was an inner circle gist that if you're looking for money, go Standard Chartered. But I'll let you crack a joke. Some Standard Chartered banks.
But I heard that the entry,
the strategy, yes.
But it was before you can own an account.
But God, he did what he did, because I mean, I feel like every 25.5 years, that's what the generation is. Generation 25 years, something drastic happens.
Yeah, that shifts the ground.
The universe allows it to happen so that it can create new set of opportunities for new set of people. During COVID, new billionaires were made.
Yes.
New industries were created. I mean, the Zoom we're using today is I think it's a poster boy
for COVID. Yes,
COVID
it was around before Zoom, before COVID, but
it never blew.
Yeah, but it blew when
sometimes it's just a perfect timing.
Perfect time. Right?
Yeah, it never blew. But if cashless didn't happen, maybe people like MoneyPoint and OPay.
Yeah, we never have gotten that. Yes, that's true. Yes, so MoneyPoint went up.
I want to put it. I want to do Nigerian thing and say, "Na God."
Na God.
Right. So God just wanted to show that the result, but more importantly, they weren't prepared and understandable, right? Because normally those kind of things happen like it was gorilla. It's so sad when a regulator, right, and don't have that conversation because it gets political with the method and them.
Okay. So
that's not how
the regulator should have observed the market before making a drastic change.
And then get them to be prepared. But it was like a fight. You know, when 2 elephants are fighting, what suffers
is the grass.
But let's get back to this conversation, right? So there are 7 S you must build. But for the sake of this commission, I'm not going to talk about 4 of the 7 S because they're not part of the commission. I'm going to talk about strategy, systems, and structure.
Structure.
Right? But let me put let me put shared value, systems and structure.
Okay.
Right?
I thought structure and systems is the same thing.
There are two different S in
Oh,
7S, right? So structure and systems are not the same, actually. So the fundamental thing, structure is more step by step. Systems are more interdependent. Like the human body has systems, interdependent systems. I think about 6-7 systems in the human body, right? Digestive system, respiratory system.
Okay. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that's systems are dependent of organs.
So they have moving parts.
Yeah. So, but let's get back. It's just funny how we're having conversations. Back and forth. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Thing. But so here's the thing, right? For you to be able to start having corporate governance commission, you must have structure.
Yeah.
For you to have structure, there is an order. So remember, I just isolated 3 of the 7S. I'm not going to talk about the skill you need, right? Maybe another session we'll talk about skill.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about staffing, right? The type of staffing you need
And
to
the
have.
staffing, the pain where
I wish we could talk about everything else, but you said I should talk about structure because there's really a hack for getting the right staff, right? A lot of people want crocodiles, but they go to the market and buy alligator.
They look alike.
Alligator look alike, but alligator and crocodile are not alike.
Different.
If alligator bites you, you survive. Crocodile bites you, you are not surviving. Right? All snakes are long and very curly.
But the cobra is different.
There are snakes that don't even bite. Right. So all snakes are not snakes. So what happens? You want employees to define the type of employee you want. That's like share value. Right. I mean, I've been criticized, I'm dragged on Twitter on this. I didn't make a first class in school, but all 90% of my team are 4.5 GPA because I have seen Shaggy with staff. And I realized that my first work as a CEO, networking and strategy, not teaching, common sense. I don't mind, I'm a mentor, but there are certain places you must get to. The role of community advantage, right? Harvard is not giving the lowest grade people scholarship, right? Because you're already going through a lot as entrepreneurs. You can't add dysfunctional people in your system. If you have the ability to do it, right?
To manage it.
If you have the ability to do it, you have the mental health to help people who come from dysfunctional. But let me give you an example. You set up a bakery. You put a vacancy, right? Let me tell you how dysfunctional Nigerian system is. The person that applies for the job, his first day at work, he leaves his house. Everybody's saying, bring bread, come, or bring bread, come. Do you know how dysfunctional that commission is? Like this is
no, at least now free bread will show now.
Basically, I tell you to go and steal bread because I'm not sure.
No, maybe they assume that we can't do 250,000 bread today and
bring bread.
Maybe the ones that were not baked properly.
It's from the bring bread home. They will bring enough bread.
More than.
Let me tell you a true story. I had when you knew that year. I had this friend. She had 2 TVs, 2 fridge.
Why
is 2 students?
Why would it still have 2 TVs in one room?
2 fridge, 2 TV. She had 2.
Okay, maybe one for coding and the other one for Netflix.
Her father was working in custom. That's why she has 2 TVs. Well, I have to check this.
The commercial is over.
I've told you how dysfunctional our family systems is giving birth to the dilemmas and the traumas that happen in the workplace. Right? People come from abusive homes and then they come to work, they think that the only way to make their point is to shout because that's what the world they grew up in, right?
Shout as colleagues.
So one of the things about staffing, I was going to talk about staffing, was basically have a barrier to entry
that filters us to this avatar. My minimum requirements.
Yes, have an avatar, right? Have an avatar of what you're looking for. I'm talking to some guy that sells premium property. I'm like, well, you have all these marketers. I have 20 marketers, and then 20 of them cannot even bring 10 million naira. And the guy sells premium property. I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? I've trained. I said, the problem is not training. Your problem is recruitment. If you want people that can sell,
you can never train an alligator to become a crocodile. You can't train a war gecko to be a crocodile.
Sell houses in Banana Island. It's not training that it takes to sell houses in Banana Island. Quality of people that know people that can afford Banana Island housing.
Yes,
right.
I see.
I have a client who's what's the word? I'm trying to find the commission without having the commission directly, but government official, tier 1 government official, so governor type, whose child came from NYC and was being a marketer somewhere, and the first check she brought to the company, right, was a whole state. Right? Like you work in a consulting firm, right?
Okay.
And accounting consulting firm, and they send you out to go and get job.
Get job.
The first job you brought
Is a state account.
audit. That is not. That's not.
That's not training.
That's networking. Is who your
The network
father,
was there
is who
already.
your father is, right? That's so. But what I'm having conversation is I'm just having conversation on different places. You know that it does matter to have a template for seeing what you're looking for, right?
But that's tricky. I'm sorry I'm delving on this stuff because I know a lot of people who are also having this problem on the other side of this conversation. And we still get Q&A definitely. Yeah. But how can that be done when you're just a fresh startup? You don't have the pocket to hire people that have that network and that capacity.
Remember, this
no, you're a
is
big
not
man.
Everybody here. I'm just using an example. If you're a tech business, you have no business hiring a minister or governors. That's not type of business. So I'm not telling you to all of a sudden. Okay. I'm just telling you the nature of the business.
Determine the kind of staffing.
The type of staffing. So people don't put that to cognizance. Like, for example, I don't need in my own company. I don't need that type of system, right? I mean, we're not. If I was selling Rolex watch, right, I would need somebody that knows people who can buy Rolex watch. Right? I'm not selling the Rolex watch. So it could, matter of fact, just so I'll put this in context so you don't take me out of context, right? It could be the other way around. Right? It could be that your type of business requires people that grew up in Mushi.
Yes.
So now don't go bet people that grew up in Banana Island to come and sell products for people that grew up in Mushi. I mean, there's a young guy I know who owns Alagbo Bitters.
Wow, all those.
You don't bring somebody from Banana Island
to come and sell that.
Alagbo Bitters. Right? So
someone that knows the streets.
Because it's so easy for people to misunderstand that question. But how did we get here? Telling you that there's
those
steps for creating any of the S's. But let's get back to structure. Key actionable point. Pay attention. This is the first time I'm going to do step 1, step 2, step 3 for building a structure. Structure is like a bogus word. People are saying, what does structure mean? Let me just break it down.
Simple.
Structure is take your company. Step 1, break your company to 3 levels. First step, you probably never hear structure this simplified. The first thing you do is to break your company into 3 levels.
Okay.
Corporate level, management, and operations. You can't even start to have corporate governance or structure conversations if your company has not been broken into 3 levels. Board, that's corporate level. Management and operations.
Okay.
The problem is that most people don't even know that these levels exist. So, for example, how many people here have a board in their company?
Not whiteboard.
Blackboard, right? So you have corporate governance is a board level conversation. Top, bottom.
Okay.
That sounds like top to bottom. Yeah, top to bottom, right? APC, bottom. Yeah, but here's the thing. First step, break your company to 3 levels.
Okay.
And then, coincidentally, bottom up of those 3 levels is technician, manager, operation,
entrepreneur.
Think about it. Because a lot of people, their company is flat and they have only operations. There's no management.
So everybody is giving outputs.
But as a matter of fact, tell you how you
consultant in Nigeria.
Okay. So let me give a very practical example of this. You run a 20-man business.
Okay.
Right? You're a tech guy. One of your programmers wakes up next morning and he has a running stomach. Or his grandfather in the village has swallowed shovel. He calls you to say that he's not coming
to work today. What happens?
That's the problem. You see the problem?
You shouldn't call me. It shouldn't be me.
You don't have management.
You call HR.
Management. You're not management. You're just a part of management. Because, and first of all, this call is like 6:30 a.m. You started your day putting out fire. And there's not even customer base. Do you see the dilemma?
Yeah, I get it.
Got 3 colors.
It has even disrupted your flow of thoughts for the day.
Matter of fact, you get off that call, the next person is calling you, the AC man is calling you. I said, guy, I came to your office 2 weeks ago to fix AC. I've not still seen the alert. You start solving that problem. Okay, you don't have department. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Department, two queries. One could have called HR, the other one could have called account. But they're all calling you. Can you see that you're the manager? You see, your operations and management, only you. Only you two, one-man business, corporate. People take so much pride when they say, I'm the owner of the business. What like, the owner of the business? Right. Maybe we'll pause and maybe take questions.
Okay, Chika, are you still here? Chika. Hello, Chika.
I'm here. I'm muting the person as well.
So no, Eizu is saying that maybe people are trying to ask questions. Can we just pause it quickly, take a few questions?
Yeah.
And wow, the time is spent. Take a quick question, some set of questions, then before we continue. But just to recap again, structure is broken down to three steps. So that's the operations, the management and the board.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Step one. That's step one. So let me just run it quickly. Step one is break your company 3 levels: board, management, operations. On that board, have board, like executive board, non-executive board.
Okay.
Right. Advisory.
What's the difference
board.
between executive and non-executive? Can you clarify that?
So executive board and executive board is usually people who are on the board and also involved in the running of the business.
Yeah.
Non-executive board means that you're not exactly involved. So like an ED of a bank, right? Most times is operational in the bank.
Okay.
Right. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, right? But a non-ED. So for example, when Peter B was
in Fidelity Bank.
I don't think he was an ED in the bank. He was a director in the bank, but not an ED. He's a non-ED.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So this is a real corporate governance conversation.
Hey.
A lot of people don't even know what ED and non-ED.
I'm just trying to advocate for people here, Mr. Eizu. I have an idea. I've started the business. Okay, no, I can't start a business. I've built an MVP.
Yeah.
I want to make it into a business. I'm starting afresh. So are you saying that I should first leave that and first go get my board and then now create management? It's just me and maybe maximum a friend that decided to join me and help my life to market what I've built. So how can I put structure into that?
Then you're very unpopular thinking, but yes, I would take building a team for building a product. Great product. Let me put this in context. A great team with a bad product.
Okay.
Harder
than
a good product with a bad team. I said it. After 14 years of running consulting, I will put my money on a great team with a bad product than a good product with a bad team.
Okay, so
the ultimate goal is to have a great team and a great
product, but
right.
The team is more important.
You are MVP and you're already talking to your mentors that say, "Bob, please come and be my advisory board."
Start
up with the advisory board, so they're not even diluting your shares. Advisory is advisory. You don't own equity. I mean, everybody must have egg in their corner.
Yeah, I can. Even egg that can open doors. Go and see Chief. All right, Chika, please, if we can take some questions now before we continue so that we can just get interactive.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Eizu. This has been explosive. All right, my tech entrepreneurs, if you have questions, kindly indicate by raising your hand so that we can take them at this point.
I've been advocating for you all.
Let's raise our hands so that we can ask. I know that it's a lot to take in at the moment, but...
So you see the number slide I have, there's something page slide, which we're not even running through. We don't have to run through. So I'll give you the slide.
Okay.
Just
so to share in the community.
I'm a huge fan, I'm a huge fan of anything that.
And it's a TCN member too.
Yes.
And it took a process. I'll go through that conversation now.
There's a system.
There's a system to it before we could bring it to church. But that's a question for another day, not in this meeting. All right.
Yeah. So, but why the questions go?
Okay. If there are no questions, we can just continue.
Yes.
Because I saw people on meeting, I thought they would ask questions.
Absolutely.
All right. So if there are no questions, we can just proceed.
So, so if you notice what happened, this is 7S I spoke about.
Okay.
Right. Element that determine growth: strategy, skill, style, staffing, system, structure. Skill sets it's entrepreneur must have. That certain entrepreneur, you must have leadership skill, you must have management skill, you must have technical skill. Do you see those 3 skills again? You must have the skills, but now sit on leadership skill, direction, network, strategy, right? And then you must understand the right leadership style, right? There's no one leadership style that's ultimate. Okay. While everybody says, "Oh, democracy is the ultimate leadership," there is a role for actually autocratic leadership at some point. There are times in your life where you need to break egg because you want to make omelette, right? To make an omelette, you must break a few eggs. The world has not found any invention to fry egg without breaking it. So there's a place. That sounds like Machiavelli, right? That sounds like a mafia. There is a part of management that requires you firing people. There's a part of management that requires you killing competition. I'm not saying killing like murder.
Yeah,
right.
Like go to the markets and win the market.
Buy your competitor so that I can kill it. One brand that is good with this is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is ready to buy. Was saying, who was this? What was bought? I can't remember what they bought. They bought the byproduct just to kill it. They'll just buy Limca just to kill it so that Schweppes can sell.
Wow.
Right. And buy 7-Up so that Sprite can sell.
So it's very, very, very important. So something about skills. I really want to touch on this. Some people would say that if you're starting a business, and for example, you're not technical, okay, we are tech entrepreneurs here. I'm starting a tech business. I'm not a technical person. I don't know how to code. And like some persons say that I want you to help us say, is it I or nay? Some persons will say that, okay, as long as you want to be on the management level on that business, even if you don't know the rudiments, know the basics. So for example, starting a tech business, you already have a technical co-founder. You should understand what is called a server, what's called a network, and those you don't have to code. So how true is that? Is it very necessary, or I can just stay on my
I think it's necessary.
English side?
Do you remember the commission? There's nothing wrong with starting as a technician. I said that.
Okay.
But there's everything wrong staying
As a technician.
So having basic level
of understanding of everything.
Having a threshold. You know, I like to say to play basketball, you need to be tall. Professional basketball, but you can be too tall to play good basketball. Actually, look at the best basketballers, the likes of Jordan, the likes of Kobe Bryant. They weren't very tall basketballers per se, compared to like Shaq, O'Neal,
Yao Ming,
and them, right? So the same thing, like I think to be successful, you have to be intelligent. But you can be too intelligent to succeed.
So intelligence can be a problem.
I'm too intelligent to succeed. In fact, the guy with the highest IQ of all time, I can't remember his name now. Can't remember his name. Still alive. Had the perfect SAT score, right? Not Nelson Master, perfect score, right? But here's the thing.
There are questions in the group.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
Chika, can you check if the questions and maybe read them out before we proceed?
Okay. So we have a question from someone here that says, he's citing a hypothetical example. He says, so if I create like a cover for a microphone, how do I market or how do I bring people together to build together?
Can you say that again?
So starting a business, he gave an example. Okay, for example, trying to create microphone covers. So how will he start strategizing on getting the staffing right from the beginning? Chika, I hope I'm representing that question properly.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so let's use that template of technician, manager, and entrepreneur.
Okay.
You need to have a technical team. So you're creating a microphone cover. Do you know anybody in your corner that has created microphone cover before, has worked in a company that creates microphone cover? You need to have those guys in your corner.
Somebody that has sold microphone wire and machine.
You need to have them
in arena.
Yes.
Then
you need business acumen part. Do you know anybody that can write you a business plan? So you're building your team already, and a team does not have to be your staff.
Oh, yes. I think that's a key answer. The team does have, you can even get advisory from this set of people before you kick off.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So I think
easy, they're still having problems still, Mike.
So I think that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is. But so let me just quickly run that step one. So step one, we'll break into 3 levels.
Okay.
Right. And then step 2 is for that management level, create departments. So step 2 is you must create departments in your company. And departments can only be created at management level, not operational level. So let me use the microphone.
Okay.
I like the microphone example. It's very abstract and hard. So let's just take the hard part. Right. Departments of a company that sells
that makes microphone covers.
You need an operations department.
Okay.
Or let's call it production department.
That knows the materials to bring together.
Yes. You need a marketing department.
Okay.
You need an accounting department. Guys, you're creating departments.
Okay.
So the second step is create departments. But you can't create department if you've not broken the 3 levels, not created the 3 levels, because in the management level, you do that. Right. Step 3 is create an organogram based on those departments. And they have to come in this order of precedence.
Okay. I even want to run something by you. So for example, I remember like you said, you knew how hockey was. So for some of the earlier stages, I remember some things I used to do then when it was just myself and my co-founder. So the idea was that, okay, I focus on the tech and I focus on everything that's non-tech. But what we did then was that, for example, when it comes to payments, there was no department for accounts then. So we created that email address separately. That email address exists now for our accounts department. Created an email address dedicated to accounting, like bills or billing at something.
Yeah.
And so if it's my co-founder or myself that wants to reply to a client on a conversation around invoicing,
yeah,
I won't use my personal email. She will use that email to send messages. When people want to send CVs, there was no HR department, but the HR email came before the HR department.
Yes. Mr. Larry, that was genius. Why I say success is predictable. I'm not saying this because I know you. Where you are is very far from where you were.
You know this thing.
And you see why I say success is predictable. Anybody can fall off a ladder by accident, or climbs a ladder by accident. What's happening now is
so that was still the
mental. It was the right, yes. In fact, everything is created twice. First mental, then physical. The first process of even creating a team is not acquiring a team. It's moving from simple word like I to we.
To we.
So what you did was you had a we, even though it was you. Look, let me tell you how dramatic this thing is. Right? I know someone who has alter ego in his company. One guy. So you know what? Okay, so he's talking to somebody, says, my name is Michael, I'm the CEO of the company. And he says, well, I don't know about the morality of this conversation, but he says, oh, okay, my accountant to send you an email. Okay. And then he sends an email with an alter ego from account art. It's the same guy.
The same guy. With a different tone.
So yes, so
different personality.
Yes, I'm talking about emails now, not
yeah.
So you having to deal with somebody and you're seeing 3 emails based on the department you're dealing with, right? Gives you some level of confidence. One guy, funny enough, that guy is not where he is today, right? So just like say that. So create the department, then create organogram based on department, and because you are breaking your company into 3 levels, your department will sync perfectly, and your organogram will sync into those 3 levels. So you're going to have your board level are all those things in your organogram that start with C, what you call C-suite.
C-suite, CEO,
right?
CTO, CMO, CFO.
If at your level is only one CEO, you have call the CEO. And all the management are those things that have head of, or manager this, like
production manager, operations manager.
These are all management. Then your operation guys are the units under it. See how you created your organogram. Then when you create your organogram, remember you created the levels, right? You created departments, you created the organogram, and you now create positions for each of those organogram. Then you now take each of those positions, and then you now create JDs. And I'm probably going to stop at this JD level.
All these things this man said, I know how much I paid.
So I have a session at the hotel on Saturday. And I think you should come for it because this is one of the things we're breaking down. It just hit my spirit while I was having conversation because it was one of those commissions that I needed to have people on how to build structure, because you don't always necessarily have need a business contact to run these things, right? If you look at the slide, you can see the breakfast session thing. So I think if you want to come, the details is I'm going to break down this
hotel and suites.
Just maybe drop your phone number on the call, or God's grace, you can drop maybe our details. If anybody want to attend, I'm going to give 50% discount on anybody.
Again.
First time people are interested in this, because we're talking about operational excellence, strategy, and marketing, which are 3 things that you need to run a great business, right? So why that question? Because there are about 7 steps. I think I'd like 3, 4. So you can understand at the level where SOPs, KPIs, because when you say business are organized as CEOs travel up and down with business run, it's not juju. It's literally
no be juju. No, that has been patented now. It's for a brand now.
So that's really how it works. There's step 1, step 2. I'll break that detail out. If you want me to walk with you, to walk with you. So that's how you create like a structure, right, to run. And when you have those structure, you now come back up to the highest level where corporate governance. So there's no corporate governance without structure.
Okay.
Because what you call corporate governance is some set of rules, structures that direct how a company is run, managed, and controlled. Control is important. One of the first problems I have in most businesses is that the CEO has so much power and nobody has control on him. I always say to people,
so that's a dangerous one.
Without control or has nobody,
the disaster waiting to happen.
It's a disaster waiting to happen. And if you look at it, Nigeria is an interesting example. I said to someone, they said, you know, run your business like we're running Nigeria. Let me tell you how powerful the Nigerian president is. They're powerful. There's a poll that said the Nigerian president is one of the powerful presidents in the world. I mean, this guy can reverse a law. Like, you see what's been happening in the last 1 week. Like, he's reversing laws that Buhari.
He can even put some on hold.
But that's the problem. absolute power. Nigerian president is look, Nigerian president is so powerful that if he runs over someone in a convoy, right, he can be backed by law. Right? Because you're obstructing the president. Is almost can, depending on how you twist that, can be treason. Right? So here's my commission. The same thing with marrying maybe someone who you can't report to. You know, my mentor said something years ago and changed my life, including who I married, and I'm grateful for it. It says, don't marry someone you cannot report to somebody. It says, before you marry somebody, find out somebody that if things you say, look, this lovey-dovey thing is sweet, but for those days where it's not sweet, and you need to say, let's talk to somebody. Do you have anybody? Like
I say, I can escalate this to
escalate to. If you don't, you don't have it, like
that both of you can submit to.
People live life that way. Like they don't have anybody you can report to. You can't report them to God. They don't even believe in God.
They don't lose connection.
When you say leave it, I'll leave it to God, and the guy is saying, "Thank God I don't even believe in God." Like you know what that does to, like, that's absolute, like, you know, that's a time bomb, right? Time bomb with the remote control lost, and like you can't even. So here's the conversation.
So there must be accountability on every level.
That control in management, there's actually a fancy word for it. It's called pokayoka. Pokayoka is a Japanese term, right, for error proofing. Corporate governance is error proofing your business, right? Poka is error
blocking all those loopholes.
So if anything goes wrong, there's a control. There's a control for it. Right.
Okay, I think is someone trying to ask a question.
But there's another question on the chat.
Chika, can you help us with the question? And
yes,
there's
please. So my hand is up. Yes, so I want us to take that hand first, then we'll take the questions in the chat.
All right, thank you.
All right, Dreamer, please go ahead and ask your question. Your hand is up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
clearly.
Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so my question is this. So I've been into tech for like 20 years, and I have a lot of people that come to me and say, can you be my CTO? Can you join the board? And these are really small companies that haven't really made much money, but I'm employed rather than self-employed because that's how I want it. So I'm happy to do their thing on the side. How do I structure charging? Because a lot of these people are not making money. Some of them have promises, but I really don't want.
They are promising, right?
Exactly. I don't want any cuts in their promises. I want like real cash. How do I decipher who to bother with and who not to? Because I have a long list of them, and I'm just confused which one to pick. Most of them don't have money.
Yeah, you can tell. Self-disclosure. You can tell I'm what's the word? I'm sarcastic at times, just being witty. So I start with a sarcastic response. I cannot do it for God. Let's start with that. Like, do it for God, right? But I don't know what you want out of it.
Okay.
Right. Everybody at different phases of their lives. Right. There's an exploration phase. Some people in their exploitation phase.
I'm even trying to put a context to it. Give or take, to be in tech business for 20 years, even if you're a year old when you started. So you should understand the phase of that person's life.
Yes.
So he most likely doesn't have time for tests.
No, but funny enough, I was going to say the inverse.
Okay.
After putting 20 years, you owe ethically and morally an obligation to support newer talents, but not in that place.
Okay,
right?
be on your shoulders.
What is in it for me?
Okay.
Is people should outgrow what is in it for me. But like I said, I'm not even judging. Let me assume that you're in that place where you need cash.
Okay.
But you know, when you do school for 4 years and you're about to graduate, you know, ethically, you're supposed to write a project, what you call project in uni. Final year project is actually your contribution back to the body.
Oh, really?
That's it's just that when you submit those
I'm going to miss supervisor and they are like,
all you've learned, what have you learned? And that's why you have to do a project for the school. So for most of the time, except you read engineering, where
then you submit the materials
and that's supposed to, so that later somebody can pick that up and learn something new. But sadly,
research, those things just end up in the departments.
It ends up in the woman that's selling a car. That's the paper.
Wow. Now I can. So imagine if the institutions are working. I'm digressing now.
Yes.
Are picking up those things, and some persons have done some powerful research.
That was the original idea. That was the original idea, right?
And in the beginning was not so. Oh yeah.
That was the original idea. So you know why this question is really important is
Oh, it's a laptop.
Yeah, I think the laptop is off.
Oh,
Can you please get me
get
my
a
charger?
power. Yeah.
Right. It's surprising that it's still on here. Okay, I'm gonna go off soon. Okay, so first things first. I think that you should have your own checklist.
Okay.
Of food to let into your mind, which in this case is your life.
So checking the values.
Yes, the values. Sadly, early stage startups, especially pre-seed, pre-revenue, pre-product, don't have the luxury to pay you. Yeah. So it has to be something you're passionate about, right? But if you need to charge, right, because they are ready to pay you. Matter of fact, I think telling them, asking them to pay you, right? It's also great value to show whether they're
value
serious.
for your time, yeah.
Value for your time.
And some persons even go to the extent of getting the payments, keeping it, letting them grow, and putting it back as an equity to the business.
So what I think I do, if you choose to stand your ground, this is how you go about it. Instead of telling you just in case you are saying, should I stand my ground? You actually have an obligation to contribute to the body of knowledge. But let me assume that that's not on the table. The first thing you need to do is first, let there be an MOU. There's no such thing as verbal agreements to sit on your board. Even if it's advisory, let there be an agreement. You can say, okay, you're not making money now. Give me an agreement that when you start making money, right?
There'll be some benefits.
I want 1 million naira a quarter, right? 200K for sitting allowance every time you need to sit down with me to pick my brain. That's really what they are trying to, because the only reason why anybody's coming to you would be
they recognize your wealth of knowledge in this space.
Your network, and for two things, your network and your knowledge base, right? So you can say how you want to charge this. Charge per sitting allowance as a board, and also charge per quarter.
And is referring to CTO, so most likely they even need him to build. Sir, am I speaking for you? They need you to be part of the building process, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so I mean, the one that is closest to not my heart, but I think that is reasonable is they've already spent a good amount, maybe like about 100 million already on the product, and they haven't launched. Wow. So they're in a panic. And they're kind of
100 million is not a startup. It's not a testing idea.
So this is self-funded, but the problem is they've run out of money. They run out of money. That's the issue.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think I need to build a team. I just need to see how we can launch the product and then just sit on the board. But I'm afraid it will be one of those things where they will call you in to get involved in lower level things, and I just don't have the time. But I mean, I think there's promise in the company. Or the product.
Your gut's feeling is key. You're already sounding like you're with them, so I think you go ahead and have it. But you can tell them that you don't have the money to pay me now. Two things, right? The value of a thing, in the words of Frederick Nietzsche, the value of a thing is not in what it's worth all the time. Sometimes it's on what it costs. You spend 100 million, right, and it didn't work. You could as well borrow 1 million to pay me for it to work.
That's true,
right? I think that you should stand your ground, because I don't know where we got this thing, especially for us as Christians, who think that sometimes what we call being humble is selling ourselves short, right? You spent 20 years. 20 years is enough time to be a professor in your
yes.
base, in your
if you're in the academic life.
Right? So I think you can stand your ground and say, look, I want you guys to borrow money to pay me. There's nothing wrong with it. After all, Nigeria borrows money to pay salary. So I don't understand why they can't borrow money to pay you. Right? That's one, pardon my sarcasm. Two is, I don't want you to borrow money, but I want you to pay me. So pay me in equity.
Okay.
Right? Something was interesting. When Uber was launching, they needed Jay-Z and Beyonce to perform in the launch of Uber. True story.
Wow.
Uber was small. They couldn't afford Beyonce then. Beyonce said, pay me in equity. Wow. Today, Beyonce and Jay-Z actually owns equity in Uber.
Wow.
For performance. So you can pay in equity, second option. But remember, the equity only makes sense when they blow. If they don't blow, 100% equity in zero revenue is still zero revenue.
Zero.
They will blow, right? They will blow by God's grace. So that's second option. Third option is pay me 1 million
cash
in debt.
In debt. Okay.
When you
owe me
launch, we're going to fast track. I have a client who's doing this. Giving so much. He's put his money into this startup. They don't even have an office. He's giving them his own apartment. And I said, look, that's not how you do it. Give them the apartments, but tell them the rent value.
Costs, yes, so that it's not more they're burning.
They'll pay you back all the money. right? So I think I've given you like 3 good options. And of course, the 4th option is let her do it for God. Right.
I hope that answers the questions.
Right. But the top 3 options is
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yes, don't be shy. Don't be shy. You don't always have to dim your light because you're shining bright on someone else's eyes. Because while you're dimming your light, you can also have an accident, right? So sometimes you have to be, and my personality is almost sort of showing here. There are people who has walked, what's the word? They've been too shy to have tough conversations, right? But 100 million, they need you more than you need them. So you're in a good place. If you spend 100 million and you have not launched, you're clearly doing something wrong. And if I'm the right guy to help you do something right, then you've got to be able to pay me for that.
I think that's in the.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's other questions, right? So can I just round up with systems? Does anyone question? Can I have the question now, or can? Is there another question? Okay. So
okay, there's one more, but it's slightly. I think I'll need the person to just ask it because they're a bit. Yes, please.
Yes, it's me. Good evening. This is Ikalo from Abuja. Thank you for this opportunity. Okay, so I have a business which is about communication, teaching people how to speak confidently. I train children, teenagers, adults, public speaking. However, my challenge is that I don't have any staff. I actually made a mistake by looking for corpers, core members, because I felt that, okay, that they will come out, train them. But I realized it was a waste of my time. They were not interested. I got people that read English, that read public relations, but they were not interested in working with me. So I brought them in with a vision and they all left like snakes in basket. They just left. So I was left alone and I'm like, I don't have money to hire experts. But I see colleagues of mine who used to work in the bank who want to join my business, but they have nothing to offer me. And I'm pained. I don't want people to just come and say, oh, what are you doing? I want people that will help me with marketing, with digital, with showcasing my brand and helping me to do like videos. So I don't know how to get the right partners. I can't afford to pay, but I know I have so much potential because I get little jobs, big jobs with World Bank, with LLG, Bonnie Island. They call me to trade, but I'm the only one creating the product. I'm the only one thinking of how to market. So it's killing me. But I've not been able to get the right people on my team. And I don't know what to do.
Okay, so let me first of all, I know the voice. I know the voice. It's been a while. I haven't heard from you in a while. Right. So first things first. I'm going to be a bit off the tangent. I'm going to use a boy-girl relationship as an example. When somebody says, I can't find the right person to marry, please, you might want to pause and say, am I the right person they should marry? Right? And that discussion I'm having has nothing to do with it. Kalkala is a fantastic person. So many times, right? The same way you're looking for the right staff.
The right staff are looking for you, the right boss, yeah.
So maybe you haven't shared them something enough for them to want the right people to know. The problem
or even the circle where, for example, where she says she's the pool she's looking into. Maybe she look at another pool.
Yeah, so I'm about to go somewhere with this. I've seen people build great businesses with coppers, right? The average age of people who work for me are in their 20s, early 20s.
Okay.
Right. So when people say, oh, experience, I said, look, a lot of people are inexperienced, but there are other things that matter. So this is what I would suggest with you, right? First, I think that quality costs money.
Yeah.
When you can't find quality people, you need to make them. Make or buy analysis. When you can't buy, you make.
And for what she said now, she said she has attempted training and at some point they still leave. Is it that they didn't key into the vision or?
Okay, so this is why I said that you have to, what I mean by you have to make them, right? You have to create, since you don't want to spend money, I think you should spend money to get quality. But if you say you don't have the money to spend, it's almost a catch-22 situation because, I mean, I would borrow money if I believe in a vision deeply. And I've learned to send people on those wild riches. If you really want my service, right, you should pay me for my service. So I feel like the right people who are, let me say that probably young girls who are in ISEC or there's a lot of NACTOS, there's a lot of school people who are solid. There are people who started Rotary from Rotaract days or Interact days. Those guys might also have feel that they've paid their dues. So here's my commission. I think that you should find how you're going to finance good people. But if you can't find good people, there's an interesting idea I'm about to give you. And that idea is start up a challenge online that attracts people that you're looking for, right?
Speaking challenge or some people
so maybe you're looking for young people who can speak. For example, you have 3 gig. Let me use the brands you mentioned. NLNG is a big brand. NLNG, World Bank. You need to train at the same day.
What happens?
What happens? Now you want a 25-year-old that can speak in World Bank. I mean, that is like a decimal possibility, but that's fine. But there's 25-year-old that can speak there. Now, how you can find them is to set up a challenge. I know a client that does this so brilliantly well. He's trying to get marketers, right? Puts out a challenge on Instagram, right? And says whoever wins this challenge gets maybe $5,000. Then he has over 1,000 entries. Wow. The people who win that, like same thing that America used to do, American visa lottery now. But America is doing special programs for people to come abroad. They're not looking for the average people. That thing is a challenge. I don't know what right? It's a challenge. Right? Some of the cutoff marks to get into those schools, their own students don't even use that cutoff to get in. Right? So you might need to have a challenge. And that challenge, you can say, okay, having a speaker's challenge. Find one of your brand that can sponsor, maybe $5,000. Then see that the people you think didn't exist will show up to apply because there's money now. Now for that challenge, I mean, you need one person, but you have 30 people who passed. And from, you can say, send a short video, speak, whoever has the best video, we're going to show. First is gamification, so people enjoy it, right? But you have now a reserve of good people. Because when you have options,
I can go through that pool.
Yes, so I think that's something you need to do. Second hack is start an academy. And let people pass through that academy, because I mean the best footballers in the world came from academies.
So I would even suggest I'm building on that. That second option. I think she needs to leverage on technology. Sit down. Record your contents end to end. So you are trying to duplicate yourself this time around. Record it, because some of these institutions might not even mind going through some visual contents. Then you now come to just present and wrap it up. So if you can digitize that, I use that for training your own team. And I think Eizu does those things like creating SOPs and the likes. Let them go through that end to end. You grade them. So technology will still help you very well, such that in the long run, you might still not really need to hire so many people, but you get a few, maybe 2, 3, 4 persons that can join you, and that business can still be a multi-millionaire business or even multi-million-dollar business.
And for anyone who's going through the frustration that Kalon is going through, you can't stop training people because the last people you trained left or was not worth your time.
It's a continuous process. So we have a philosophy I used to tell people that, especially in the tech space where software developers, right, exiting almost every minute, just like the medical space. So you have to create a pipeline. The pipeline, what I mean by pipeline is that for a pipe, as water is coming in, some is going out. So just make sure you keep it wet. So always have that. So I need to have interns. A lot of people in our company came in as interns, built along the line. And
it's an academy. You're doing informally.
So that way you always have because waiting for that perfect person. So just find some persons that have the zeal and passion for what you're doing,
but don't have the skill. You have the zeal.
So the skill will just. So maybe you, for example, you said that you found people that were already in that field. So you assume that you already have the skill that you can just brush a little and but the passion's not there. So for me, I think I'll go for passion over skill.
Yes. So you keep trying, right? So give me like the option. There's a very great case study to this. Talent is hard to find, but have you ever seen, let's say music, Nigerian music is all-time high right now.
Yes, everywhere, anywhere you are in the world, anywhere.
Remind me what Makossa was. I think bigger than Makossa in the 90s, but Afrobeat is probably the biggest genre right now in the world. And there's one record company that's never been short of talent, Mavins.
Right? There are always new persons.
From Tiwa Savage to Ladipo to One Day Cole to D'banj, to the newer kids on the block
Johnny
now,
Drill.
Johnny Drill. But you know the trick. I always say this, and I don't know whether there's any intentional framework that back it up. I've always thought of Don Jazzy as someone that runs a music academy.
Yeah.
I feel like he has
The
something
talents,
like a
build them
challenge
completely.
where people come, right? Most of them already are talented, but are rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And he puts in an
Structure around them.
incubator. Most of these guys are signed for 2 years and they're not making songs. They're just hanging around because he's also teaching them not just music.
Yes, definitely.
The greatest artists don't even get their own heads cut off. Right. I was reading about this guy Basquiat. There's a Shakir song now called Basquiat.
Yeah.
Basquiat.
Sorry.
Jean-Michel. Jean-Michel is one of the greatest art. It should have been our own Picasso and Leonardo da Vinci of our generation.
Okay.
He died quite early.
Wow.
Heroin overdose. He still has one of the most expensive paintings in the world. This is a Brooklyn, New York person, right? A young boy on the street, black guy who painted. I think Jay-Z still has art collections like over $1 million. He's a guy that died in his 20s, right?
Wow.
Basquiat. But and the problem with Basquiat wasn't talent. So here's my commission. I feel like what Don Jazzy does, and it's just off the tangent of discussion, but just to state that you need to make
the academy.
It's cheaper to buy. Sorry, it's more expensive to buy. It's cheaper to make. Right. So you might need to make them, or you make them not the skill. So finally, you find the right person that can even speak. Let me ask you a problem to solve. Someone that can speak like you, so you can duplicate yourself in other places. But that person does not have your temperament.
Yeah, to undo conversations, to even interact with your customers, so they can even damage what you've built.
It's not even refined, right? So that's my Basquiat was one of the greatest artists, but didn't have the persona, just more money and then you're high on cocaine and heroin. Another example is a guy called Manigot. Manigot is supposed to be the greatest basketball player of all time. As a matter of fact, I stumbled upon Manigot when Michael Jordan was saying that it was his mentor. Michael Jordan saying that someone mentor, right? He was called the GOAT, greatest of all time. He never made it to the NBA. Also died of heroin overdose. Just this morning, I was talking to my in-law. I was talking about Tupac. Tupac is probably the greatest rap artist of all time, right? But he died at late 20s, right? The only artist that ever did 2 albums in 1 year. Right? I think Ashake is doing not 2 albums in 1 year, right? But yeah, just how powerful it is. But Jazzy doesn't have this type of artist that are good on stage but bad off stage. Meaning that there's an orientation. That's like the process period. So you have 2 challenges, Mikalone. One is finding the right people that have the skill, but you also have to have people that have the personality. Like they're not going to go behind your back. Okay.
Yes,
right.
The safety of your business.
Funny enough, the most talented people in this country are also the most criminally minded people in this country. The best politician in this country at best.
Let's leave that. Muted your name.
We don't have.
Thank you so much.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
You got to have both of them, but you have to have a framework. We'll talk off this. There's an SOP for finding good people. And I can't spend all of this session to talk about SOP for having good people. There's a process, a step one step. So let me give a good example of how we find good people. When I say 70% of our workforce made first class, the first question people ask is,
where do you get them?
Find them? Because how many in any school, how many first class do they graduate? And then when they graduate them, wouldn't they want to work in Shell, Chevron that can afford to pay them? So how do I get the type of people that KPMG and Deloitte and McKinsey will get? Because they're like, I would say they're my competitors, but they're just way bigger than me, without having KPMG, McKinsey money. So this is my SOP. I go to have a WhatsApp group of everybody, every major school, people who country. Are 4.5 CGPA
and above. So you must have been tracking them from 200 level.
As I'm hiring you as first class graduate, I'm telling you that which school you go to Babcock. I say, please go back to Babcock. Go and find me everybody that in year 2, year 3, who's GP currently.
This is 4.5.
Of course, some of them will fall a bit, but you still have. So you see how backward.
And from then you started bringing them.
I'll go and speak. The only place I speak for free, just in case somebody's saying, let's come and speak. I don't speak for free. The only place I speak for free is schools because of my SOP.
And
so when I'm going to photo,
where we can hold you with church mind.
Physical, right? But do you see the SOP? Because why it's important to me to speak in photo or in Babcock for free is because it's important for them to know me. And year 3, I say, okay, when I leave, I'm going to work
with this guy.
Now, that's because I don't have the money that Shell or Chevron has
So you can't just afford to sit down and send
wait for them and
flyers.
send flyers. I said,
Interested, apply within.
Right.
Where
No, so-
KPMG and the likes already
so
doing
you see,
that.
there's an SOP. Step 1, create a WhatsApp group. Step 2, find somebody that is a 4.5 GPA. Efficos, no efficos. The guy that reads all night in school has friends that they read together all night in school.
Yeah.
The same way the party guy or the party girl knows the clique that they go to parties together.
Yeah.
Right. So you see, step 2, find their community, find them young, train them. I have a residency. My colleagues live together. So that's my own
accommodation is sorted.
Yes. And then that's also my way of
building
you. Yeah, co-location. We're better bonded because we spent time. Today, I was just talking to them. I called them, and one of my colleagues is here, and I said, "Oh, where you get? That's where Mount 12 Market." I'm like, came to pick me from the house. My wife like, was that Mount 12? Yeah, Mount 12 Market. That they went to buy food in bulk, and my wife like, you guys buy food in bulk in office? He said, "Eizu, are you sure you are not running restaurant?" But you see, that's SOP. So that, but explaining beyond just the Y, the X of consulting to the personality. I'm saying, this is how you eat when you go out. You know, most of us didn't go up eating cutlery like fork and knife. So you have to understand that you don't put the fork in your right hand, you know, and all that type of stuff. You start breaking down because people come from different backgrounds. But that's part of the making. So Ikalone, are you ready to do that type of work?
Along with the current workload?
Yes, you have to. Like, so that's really how it works, right? So I think I've done well structure for systems. The first system is primary aim system. So I'm just going to run through systems you must create. Primary aim system is your vision, your mission, your core value. There's no corporate governance without primary aim. What is the ultimate
mission,
goal?
vision, core values.
What's the ultimate goal? What's your DOD, definition of done? What's your definition of done in your company? What's the definition of done?
How do you know we have arrived?
Yes, when you arrive, how do you know you have arrived? Like you're playing football, where's your scoreboard? Where's the goalpost? If there's no goalpost and there's no scoreboard, there's no football. You are just playing. I don't know what you're going to call that. So you don't know. If there's no
monkey post.
Post. No, if you monkey post,
monkey post.
Right. And a lot of people run their businesses like that. Like a lot of people run their businesses without monkey, like literally like that.
But even monkey post has a post.
So you don't have a scoreboard. Your scoreboard in management and in business is your mission, vision, and core values. So you know, for example, to be the #1 consulting firm for SMEs, right? That's #1. There's quantification, right? It's quantitative, right?
So it's not abstract.
#1. So you know when you're #3, you know when you're #4, you know when you're #1. So that's the first primary aim, your vision, your mission, core value. So for everybody who's listening and the CEOs, when you go back to work on tomorrow
has Monday.
Ask them the core values of the company. You
walk up to anybody.
Even you, do you know your core value of your company? You. Yes, you that you're smiling there. Joking, right? Like a lot of people don't know, so that's the first primary aim. Then the second thing you need to create, after you create your primary aim, is your organizational structure system. So first primary aim system, right? Second one is organizational structure system, right? So organizational structure system is basically structured. Like I mentioned, your levels, your department, your organogram, your JDs, your KPIs, your SOPs, but you have to have that whole system and how they all fluidly are interdependent, right? The rule about organizational system is the highest explanation is create a system where they don't talk to the big boss until they've talked to their small boss. There's a rule I say in my company. I say, don't talk to the big boss, you talk to the small boss. Everybody understands in my company. What ruins companies, what ruins, or what but just was positive. But Nigeria is not in its prime, right? One of the biggest problems we have in Nigeria is that people have access who they shouldn't have access to and they abuse it. So a policeman stops you in the checkpoint to ask you for your papers and you don't have your papers. Right? Instead of to wait for your tickets, if they give tickets, right? Or beg.
Ticket no deal.
You remember that you have a commissioner of police.
He's no
don't give tickets.
Because that guy said no go give tickets. That guy no go give.
When I say ticket, it's just a nice word. Wait for them.
So I know that if you enter that station.
Here's my point. You should have done that there. Remember the rule. Pay attention to this rule. Don't talk to the big boss, you talk to the small boss. They stop you or they stop anyone. You call IG of police because you know IG of police. You know there are people that do that.
Yes.
Or you call commissioner of police. There are people that call commissioner of police. I always crack the joke, and I have a 4-year-old son. I was telling my wife, I said, I don't want to raise kids that if they're in trouble, who call me, especially if the trouble they can solve. If I am ever going to be the president or governor of this country, and my child is in checkpoint and he calls me, right?
They will most likely not be stopped at checkpoints in the first instance. If they are the governor's son.
Talk about freedom.
Sorry, I'm just playing with you.
I know, but here's kind of lifestyle, and it's important to be intentional. Is first of all, I want to raise kind of children that know not to call me because you must have learned networking skill.
Interaction, she must.
It's a petty problem. And you don't even have to mention that you're Eizu's child. That's not the kind of child you want to have, because I didn't grow up mentioning I'm anybody's child. Right?
Yeah, yes.
Right. You know. So here's the thing: if you call me, right, and say that you're a checkpoint, I'm going to say, oh, okay, give the phone to the policeman. And I'm saying, you see that idiot there? Keep him, because that's not what I just
your wife.
You know what I say is, I'm like, oh, my wife is not telling, but it's important to understand that. But where the commission is, don't talk to the big boss, because that's what's ruining the police force. The policeman knows that somebody ahead of him, right? Not just directly. So everybody must have only one boss. In management, there are 14 principles of management. Shout out to Henry Fayol. He's the father of modern day management, right? Like how Isaac Newton is like the father of I say physics, but the part of physics that has to do with motion. Yeah, he has the first and second and third law of motion. Newton, right? So here's the funny thing, right? It's important in your company that everybody has only one boss, and that boss is not you.
And you're just the biggest boss. Shouldn't be conflict. There shouldn't be any conflict of interest. So if the
janitor is cleaning and he realizes that soap has finished, he should not tell you that soap has finished.
Or shouldn't go and tell it of engineering
that soap has finished. The janitor must have maybe a supervisor that cannot talk to procurement, that cannot talk to accounting, that talks to you. It's that type of system. No, it doesn't have to be that bureaucratic. I'm assuming you're only 1,000 business, 1,000 man business.
She ain't only take time. Okay,
that's
so don't finish.
So that's the problem.
That's faster.
That's faster, but that's why I say temporary solution, permanent problem. A lot of the things that are faster, right, will kill you. So microwave, right? Sometimes taking the long route, right,
it's better.
Is better. That's the dilemma. That's the trap we fall into. It's faster it's actually faster. Even let's look at Bible. God has hierarchy. A whole God said, don't talk to me until you go through my son. That's really what the Bible, nobody goes through my father. There's a Bible verse that talks about that, right? Right.
No one comes to Father except through me.
Except through me. Do you see what just happened? Don't talk to the big boss, you talk to the small boss, literally, like, right? So even there's hierarchy. In the name of, I am asking you, in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Right? Do you see the in Jesus' name? There's a buffer between, even from somebody who is thinking that
the Holy Spirit that initiates it.
Somebody was saying that, you know, what does division of labor? I can do everything. Not just people that say you want to get things done, do it yourself. Trap, self-employed trap, you know. So the guy said to me, division of labor. I'm like, no, if you want to get things done, do it yourself. I said, okay, so division of labor. He said, no, I said, you say you're Christian division of labor. So what's wrong with Christian? No, because, you know, I said, wait, a whole God has God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, 3 in 1. And if you think about that thing, they have their job descriptions.
And to even make it further, after I created man, he said, go and dominate the earth.
Yeah.
God didn't take time to name the animals.
Yes, he delegated the naming to I sound like
now we are it's not scriptural.
So you see that delegation?
He delegated that to
delegation is what I'm saying. Don't talk to the big boss.
He gave his spirit into him and told him, and like they said, anything he named, that's actually what God wanted to name the animal. So whatever he named the animal was the animal's name.
Because system thinking, you're a CEO, you're going to your office, maybe you have a rule that somebody must wear their tie on Monday morning. You get in the elevator and you see 3 of your staff not wearing their tie. Let me tell you,
maybe they were just
the easy trap is to shout at them or tell them why you're not wearing your tie. But you know what system really is? Which sounds bureaucratic.
Just look away.
Is just say, how you doing, blah, 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 and then call for the HR.
HR, okay. I saw 3 people in the elevator today. So let HR deal with that.
Yes, but also what HR would now do is tell every other person. You see, if you told those 3 people, it's only 3 people that have told out of your 100 staff. So 97 don't know how deep that problem is to you. But when you tell HR system, HR can send an email to everybody.
Or call
or call
apart from
and say,
calling those 3
and you really have more weight and say, The boss was angry, the big boss. I mean, you also want to make
Well,
yourself.
you're like, I saw him now. It was
fine.
also.
And that's how you build system. And that's how you build
Yeah,
system.
yeah, I see that. I see
It's
that.
like same thing God does. Like you mess up right now, so God is not giving you direct, quick action. You know, you do something now, right? Sometimes the repercussion of that thing is in 10 years' time. Sometimes maybe not even your lifetime, depending on heaven and hell. Like it can be what you've done has earned you a place. But I'm just saying, but so that's like the whole concept around strategy and structure.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody understands it.
Wow. Our time is fast spent, 7:28. Wow. And I think the conversation is really getting.
Yeah, but the primary aim, I just want one quick system quickly. So primary aim, I've said primary organizational system is organogram, and then there's what you call management system. Now, management system is where corporate governance even comes a lot. Now, management system means that you have some set of management rules. So this is what I think. In current dynamics of management is changed. All those bulky employee handbook is, pardon my French, is absolutely useless right now. Right, the world has passed. The world has passed handbook. Right, you know, handbook is the version of when you bought phones in 1992, and it came. The box was so big. I noticed that no phones that carry manuals anymore. I remember about
Samsung,
Triumph, that
SGH.
Yes, all of them had right. So, what I think works better is set of rules. So I suggest 4 rules. 1, board rules. 2, management rules. 3, and when I say rules, this can be like 1-page documents, like literally 1 paper. I say these are our management rules.
Just like 10 commandments.
Yes, management rules. For example, I give you a very practical example of our own management rules. 1, no meeting should ever be held without a minute of a meeting. So if you had a meeting and there was no minute of meeting, that meeting never held.
Never held.
Everybody knows that. You know, you can get queried. You can literally get fired for having a meeting without documenting the meeting. So if I need to find something that was said 7 years ago, I will go to the drive, right? The cloud, and just search for minute of meeting held, and I'll get it. You see, that rule. We have a rule that says, don't start a meeting without reviewing the last meeting. See the rule? So, because what happens is, once again, every new meeting, we talk about new styles of things. What happens to the last one? Did you guys deliver on it? Right? Every meeting in Xavier, the first item on that meeting, the first item on the agenda is review of the last meeting, because that's common sense. But as common sense as it is, people don't have those kind of rules, right? Don't have an official engagement without your jacket. Wearing an Xavier jacket.
Yes, I noticed that when you came, you said wanted to quickly.
Yes, jacket, right? Those are rules. The same way, I mean, my wife runs an interesting retail chain. She has like 6 retail stores, food brand, right? Less than 2 years, and I'm really grateful for how fast the business grew to have 6 stores. When she started the business 2 years ago, we sat down and broke down each of these rules, right? Shop floor rules.
So she got free consulting.
So she paid in kind.
Okay, I understand.
She paid in kind, right? She paid in kind, but she still owed me cash anyway.
She might be watching too.
But right.
You are still going home tonight to do it.
So I just not play at the game.
I'll see you. There's space somewhere there.
Yeah. So like shop floor rules for a restaurant. Don't ever don't ever get into the kitchen without covering your hair. Basic stuff. But as basic as it is, common sense, not as common. You have to have those rules. And people need to know, so that when you need to fire people, they don't fire themselves. Right? So that's a rule. Don't talk to a customer except your tag is on. Those are all under one category rule, shop floor. Can you see shop floor rules that has to do with shop floor engagements? And
there's another for the kitchen, there will be another one for the.
However, shop floor rule covers kitchen and shop floor. There are basically 4 rules. 4 rules, that's 4 paper. That means what I'm saying is all your
instructions, everything.
Yeah, are now broken down into just only 4. So shop floor rules are all things that has to do with shop floor. Management are everything has to do with management. Like we have our meetings every Wednesday. That's a management rule. You cannot resign except to give 1 month notice. Right? 1 month notice. And if you resign in 1 month and you don't give a notice, you forfeit your salary. People have that, but do not enact it. I'm the type of leader that I've already told you that to break egg, to make omelet, you must break egg. You know, first of all, let's say this nicely. Don't bang the door when you have to leave.
Okay.
You might need to come back.
Okay.
Right. This Japa syndrome, 61 people that have left, right, abroad, because I work with a young team, most of them leave. I made a first class. There are a lot of schools in America that let you do PhD.
Straight, yes.
Straight, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to write your recommendation letter. Your school calls me to say, can you confirm that this guy work with you? So everybody knows to behave themselves. While I also behave myself because it's always 2 ways, right? So that's a management rule. You must give us 1 month. Right? If for the fun of it, right? I'm not going to write to your new employer. The system will write, the HR will write to your employer saying this guy left, he did not steal. However, he broke our following code of conduct. But not then not to hire the person, but just people knowing that you can do that, right? You don't have to do that. But knowing that you can do that, and let me state this here, right?
They won't call it bad belly.
You can get a lot of things done with kind word. But see in this country, you can get a lot of things done. There's a Machiavellian quote, and just very careful because it's section. There's a quote that says you can get a lot of things done with kind words. But you can get a lot of things done with kind words and it's gone faster and better. You can get a lot of things done with kind words. Let me say that again. You can get a lot of things done with kind words.
Can you please move that laptop? If the gun points there, can you please move?
No, you don't have to point the gun. Put the gun on the table while I'm saying, please move the laptop, right? Is a better way to get people to move the laptop. You spend your whole life and not have to shoot that gun.
Yeah.
But people knowing that
there's a gun on the table.
You know, I was having that conversation about boardroom politics. A lot of boardroom politics is happening lately for people that follow the news. You know, today, last week, Opua Tudeko climbed back to be the biggest shareholder in First Bank. You know, saw what happened with Otedola and Nimelu. Those are boardroom politics. I said, look, see boardroom politics a lot. I said, every time boardroom politics happen, what you see is the nice guy that people are afraid of always winning. That's like it's a what's the word?
Like oxymoron.
Is that the word? Oxymoron. Right? It's an oxymoron. Look.
The nice tough guy.
A great mix is love and fear.
So you guys are
a great. You guys make the money, right? You're talking guys, right? Yeah, but I'm telling you that I didn't say kind word and a gun pointed. Just you knowing.
Okay, you don't have to point the gun. Just keep the gun. There's a gun.
But I'm nicely asking you.
Has
more value than I'm nicely asking you because the country we live in maybe somewhere else. Nice guys, it's good to be nice, right? But I don't know how to have discussion beyond this, so people don't even take.
So we already get it
right. So that's pretty much one of the things. So
I think management,
So the management rule is basically breaking down coming into 4 rules. I'll give you an example of each of the rules. Okay. Management rule. Is there any example? I won't give you management rule, shop floor rule, board rules.
Okay.
So for example, I sit on a lot of boards. One of the boards I sit on is of course, common sense. My wife's business, right? So business makes, comfortable business, and so we have sets of rules like when directorship meets, right? You know, directors meeting, you have to call me Mr. Eizu and not my love me, right? You know, just like thing, right? And then profit share. Okay, particular period of the year we need to share profit.
Okay.
So if that period of year has not come, I will call audit to audit the account if money is missing. Like just being that structured. I always have the caution to say, look, remember, you're not building this business to survive.
Yeah.
Right. Survival is the worst place to be as a human being.
Yeah.
And survival sometimes doesn't come from scarcity, come from mindset. Nigerians are constantly on survival mode. It's something about our system. There are a lot of things that for you to succeed in Nigeria, you need to unlearn. One of them is hard work, hustle. You know, the most used word, buzzword on the street now, hustle.
To work hard now.
But nobody becomes very successful. Don't be below the line business for hustle.
But working hard.
So you have to undo. No, so let me say something interesting, right? Sweat is inversely proportional to wealth. Inversely proportional means 1 over something. As a higher,
the more you sweat, the lesser.
Say X is inversely proportional to Y. That's
what if I'm a sprinter?
To 1 over Y. That means the sweat. So let's use the example. no matter how much Usain Bolt, the biggest runner of all time, Usain Bolt, no matter how fast Usain Bolt run, cannot be as rich, right, as the company that organized the platform that is running. I don't know if that's what I mean, right? Yes, you cannot look. There's no way. And there's an outlier. That's except, let me say, except you are Usain Bolt, Sweat. Except you're an athlete, Sweat is the vast proportion to wealth. Let me say that. But the biggest artists, the biggest stars in the world, those sweat as much as the average guy. So let me give a personal example. Do you see how much the move that Messi and Ronaldo is making? Do you see the move that?
Sorry, I'm very bad at football.
Right? Was it Messi that signed? Is Messi that signed to the US team now? Right, Messi. Did you see how much Messi? Did you see how much Messi was in? Did you see how much Messi has made without kicking the ball? If it was by sweat, he has to sweat to make money. He has not kicked any ball yet, has he? That's said. But he's made way more money than the guy who runs that thing 1 million times. And because he's learning that, the main money to be made, the main business is off the pitch. Off the pitch. So that's something Nigerians, you have to, there's a lot of things that our culture.
Signing deals,
the idea that for you to make it in life, you have to wake up by 4:30. People need to unlearn that thing.
You can't see it.
No.
Top Mainland Bridge.
It's mental. It's everything's set up. Hey. And thank God. The
Code Bridge. Okay, they've opened the Code Bridge there.
Thank God. You have to know. So let me state it again. There's nothing wrong with doing it. Everything wrong.
Continuing in it. Okay.
And not knowing when to stop. There are people that think that the only way they can succeed is by hard working the other person. Your first 1 million in life, right? People that make, okay, I categorize Nigerians as 3 categories. People that make less than 1 million in month.
Okay.
That make 98% of Nigerians.
Okay.
Do you know what 98% in maths is? 98% of Nigerians don't make up to 1 million a month.
Wow.
So let me put this context. 98% of Nigerians don't have 500K in their account. This is CBN report. This is data.
NDIC.
NDIC, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Commission, says that 90% of Nigerians don't have 500K. So all these guys that they bash their car, they come out and say, you know who I am? Bros. Most of us are nobody.
Oh, no.
Most of us are nobody, right? But
yeah.
Your first people, 3 categories of people, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. I know I'm shaking tables and you don't have to agree with me, right? But here is the thing. First category of people make less than 1 million. 99% of Nigerians make less than 1 million. Second category of people, the people that make above 1 million, or less than 10 million a month. I mean, if you make between 1 to 10 million every month, you're a big boy in this country. And there are people that make over 10 million every month. I expect somebody to say, God, when? Like, when are you going to make 10 million naira a month, every month? Let me tell you the difference between them. The guy that makes 1 million a month, less than 1 million a month, thinks that the secret to success is hard work. The guy that makes 10 million, right, knows that the secret of success is smart work. So your first 1 million is
the 1 10 million above is people,
strategic
partnerships.
Nobody makes 10 million naira. Matter of fact, you know what's funny? Majority of people that make 10 million naira a month don't leave their house till 10 a.m. every day.
10 for 10.
Doubt me, tomorrow is Monday. Stay in what's that end of Third Mainland Bridge in Owoshoki.
Okay.
Stay on Owoshoki bus stop by 6:30.
By
6:30, that place is full every Monday.
Okay.
Every morning, 6:30, Owoshoki.
It's very full.
Straight traffic all the way to Osborne.
Okay.
Count how many Rolls Royce or G-Wagon or Range you saw in that traffic.
Then you come back around it.
But let's reduce it. Count the number of cars that were 2015 and above. You know how funny that in this country that majority of the cars are 15 years old before they were
imported.
So that gives you an idea that if it's by hard work, the guy that makes 10 million a month should be
in that traffic.
He should be the guy even shadowing passengers because he works the hardest. That guy by 4:30, as I said, shouting passengers. So we need to unlearn certain mindset. Everything that you do that requires your presence is a bad business.
So you are, in a nutshell, you are not saying that it's bad to start that way, but it's bad to stay that way.
Absolutely.
So as you started that way, just be looking forward in the direction that you should go.
Yeah. So I think we should start rounding up. So I can give the template of this. If you are listening and this was worth your time, Xavier is
Thank
coming,
you so
and I'll
much.
be willing to give everybody here a 50% discount for the breakfast session at Co Hotel
On Saturday.
Saturday, it's a
Okay.
full. It's a breakfast brunch session, right? Buffet style, last floor, overlooking Eco Atlantic. I'm trying to inspire you to see whether you can buy land in Eco Atlantic. $1 million. It's $1 million
for how many square meters?
right. But that's really pretty much one of the most important things is network. The difference between you now and the next 10 years is people you meet and the things that you know.
Great.
Right. So maybe we'll just take a few questions and I'll share the slide.
Oh, so it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. In fact, I can't really thank Mr. Eizu that's enough. So as we wrap up, we've gone past our time, almost an hour extra, and I hope it was worth our time. And so maybe we just take just one more question. Is there any hand up there? Can you see the screen, please? Is there any hand up there?
At the moment, we don't have any hands, but
Okay.
if you have any questions, kindly raise your hand. We've gone way beyond our time limit, and it's just interesting how every single
You
person
can't
has
take
stayed
more
on the
than
call.
one.
Yeah. So just one question, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, and if there are no questions, maybe we can wrap it up.
All right.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Eizu. Thanks everyone, TCN Community Group and HBC members that joined. Really appreciate you for staying all the while from 5 p.m. to almost 8 p.m. It's really, and sincerely, the conversation didn't really look like we've stayed that long. It was almost like a like a 10 minutes conversation because I've learned a lot. And please note the action points. What we are supposed to do, things like the strategy, your structures, your core values, everything you need to get ready from Monday. And you will see next week. And I know the confidence I have.
Sorry to ask.
Again.
Please, I am sorry. I want to ask, how can we get the slides? The slides Mr. Eizu was running through, like how can you get it
I'll
across?
give you my account number, then we'll talk about it.
I'm just joking. If you want the slide, just drop if you want drop
probably my mail or
drop the
something
number
on the chat.
You have to request for it. So I need to state also that please treat this slide as confidential because the material we use for other paid training.
Okay.
We didn't do 5% of what's in the slide because of time and the podcast nature of this. We didn't want to turn to a class. It's a 51-page slide.
Okay.
That's it.
Wow.
51-page slide. Right. So if you want it, right, just drop your email and your phone number on the chat section. Right. My guys will reach out to you. Right. And also if you check the chat section, you see my phone number. If you want to attend the breakfast or you want consulting, right? Our core is in building startups and corporate restructuring. So that's how you get the slide. We'll send it to you if you request for it.
All right. And please don't share WhatsApp. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. So this is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of TCN Tech Entrepreneurs training session. It's been amazing. It's been wonderful having Mr. Eizu. And please, if you can mute your mic and say thank you to Mr. Eizu, while I will hand over to Chika, who is out of the studio today. No, I don't need to buy any shots. So Chika, please, you can take it off from there and let's wrap it up. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eizu, for taking your time and just being so detailed. I can't even imagine that we spent over 2 hours, close to 3, just sitting and listening to your session. It has been impactful, it has been insightful, and all the references that you have also shared are so very detailed and important. Thank you so much for everything that you've done today, especially for the tech entrepreneurs. We're grateful. Guys, please unmute your mic and say thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Eizu.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So to see next week. Let me just give a closing prayer, please. Can you mute everyone? Oh, thank you. Father, we thank you for today. I think there's still a feedback. Is everything muted? Okay, Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the grace you've given us to attend this session. We know that sometimes you don't, apart from speaking from the word, you also speak through people. And we believe that the instructions for the next step in our business, we have received those insights today. And even in church, we say that day by day, you will build the steps to take. We don't waste time taking wrong turns. So today, we believe that these words we've heard, they can just be like training words, but I know that they are giving insights and directions. We pray that you lead us to take those right steps, and we see our business growing in leaps and bounds in Jesus' name. In Jesus' mighty name, we've prayed. So thank you so much.
Amen.
Thank you, Xavier team. Until we see next week, go and build your businesses. Go and write your vision and mission. So this is where we draw the curtain and say bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. How did it go? I can't believe it's 2 hours. 2 hours.
Almost 3 hours.
Yeah. 5 to. Man, this was nice. I beg you, where's your video guy?